In this video, we are going to solve the problem in 2009 CCC question 1 in junior level. So you will learn variables, if else, and list. Before we get started, and I want you to create a folder in your desktop. So like in the previous video, we already have the create a folder called project, but inside the project folder, I want you to create a folder called CCC. Let's do it. So you probably go create new folder, and you can choose the desktop, like me, desktop. You go to your desktop, and you choose a folder called projects. If you don't have it, you can click new folder. In Windows, you can right click and have create new folders. So you have projects, and then you can do CCC. And since I already created one, I will create CCC 1. And then you click the button called create. All right. So I will open my folder called CCC. And on your left-hand side, and you should have a folder called CCC. You right-click, and there's a menu called New. You choose Directory. So let's just say 2019. We name it in year. And in 2019, I want you to do right-click and choose Python file. So you choose Python file, and you would say, how about just J1? So you should have J1 here, and let's just try it and see it work or not. So you do print J1. And on top of the pie chart, you should find there's some menu called Run. And you can choose Run. And let's just run it. And you choose the new file you just create called J1. And you run. And at the bottom part, you should find there's a terminal under here. So you can, let's just change J1 to hello world. And you can click run 1. And there's a shortcut here. It's called Control R. So let's just try Control R. And it will show on your terminal called hello world. Now let's go back to read the question first. So I have my question prepared in my website called dataarea.ca. You go Service, Canadian Computing Competition, CCC, and I choose 2019. And you go J1. So in J1 is a question about winning score, and basically is like there are two teams, and they're playing basketballs, and they got different points. Like you have a 3-point shot, 2-point shot, and 1-point free throw. So when I reading my question, I will always take some notes. So how am I going to take the notes? So I always take notes when there's numbers and units. Okay? So let's do it. like of course when you read the question, you got 3 point, 2 point, and 1 point. So that's why I put a note here. And there are two teams. One is apples and bananas. And the output result should be have which team will won, or there might be tie in a tie. Okay. So after that, there's input specification. In input specification, you got to read it very careful. The reason is because the sample, like in this sample, they will have this kind of input, and they will expect this kind of output. So let's just read it. And basically, the input specification is mentioned like in the first 3 lines is for the A team, which is Apple's team, and for the next 3 lines is for the bananas team. So, and the first line, of course, is for the 3 point, and the second line is 2 point, and the third line is the 1 point. And now, like in the input, and you would say, hey, the first line is 10. Let's get some notes. So I got 10 here, which is 3 points. And the next one is 3 point for the 2 points. And 7 shots for the 1 point. And the total points is 43. So you would expect the same result come for bananas team. If you go to the second input sample, you will find the same thing. Like we got 7 shots on 3 points, 3 shots on 2 points, 0 shot on 1 point. And for the bananas team, and you got 6 points for 6 shots for 3 points, and 4 for 2 points, and 1 for 1 point. So which is come with the 27. And since both teams got 27, you will got tie again. So if it's tie, you should print out T. And if it's the apples team won, you should has A. If it is bananas team won, and you should print B. So the question is easier, and let's just work on the code. All right. So in Python, if you want someone to input something, like you want to get the input, so you should always use the function called input. Like input, just input, okay? First, again, you just go run. And now you can click here and put an A, B, C. Now you hit enter, and that's it for input. But most of the time you want to put a variable here, because a variable is like a pocket, and whatever you put it inside, and it will hold the value there. For example, here I define a variable called A1 is for Apple team. So you just A1 have the equal sign. We call, in computer we call assign the input value into a variable called A1. So input into A1. Again, you can have like A2 input, okay, A3 input, or you have banana 1, B1, you set input, B2 input, B3 input, okay. So but you want to check it out. Sometimes you want to see, oh, if I am really putting the A1 from my input, so you just try print A1 and print like just B3. Okay, so let's try, give it a try. And again, like before, and we go to the menu and click run, and you click on run J1 or Control R. Okay, so you go back to your terminal and you will say, hey, I am going to run it. So the first one, let's go back to the example. Like I would have 10, 3, 7. So you just saying 10, enter, 3, and 7. Okay, and the banana teams should be 8, 9, 6. All right, so that is the output from here. Like you print A1, A1 should be 10, right? And B3 should be 6, which means you should got all the input into your program. Okay, let me open some of my project here. Answers, new Windows. So once we got the all the value from the input, and we will figure out how to get the total result. Okay, so you say the first line is 3 point, right? So you just saying for the A team, which is a banana, or you could say A is A1 by 3 point and plus A2 by 2 points, and A3 is by 1. Okay, and again for B, and you can just do B1 by 3 and B2 by 2 and B3 is by 1. Okay, so now let's just double check. Let's see A, B, and see what happened. So let's just copy this result. I copied and Control C, and let's try. And now again I go run, and I Control V. Okay. Oh, doesn't matter. It doesn't look good. Let me try it again. And Control R. I will say I have 10, 3, 7, 8, 9, 6. Whoa, that's not fair. So what happened here? Why I didn't get the result like 45 43 and not 48. And the reason is because when we input from the here, we type 10. This input is a string. So we have to convert the string into integer. So which means is number. So in Python, there's a function called int. So again, you go int. Let's do this. Int. int. And now let's run it again. Again, I can click run and run J1, or I can just do Control R. But first of all, I copied all my input, and I will do Control R. And now I click here, and 10, 6, and I got 43 and 48. Let's go back, 43 and 48, which is good. And how about I try this one? Again, I will copy them, Control and C, or you can do copy, right click and copy. Okay, so come back here and I will click menu run J1, and you click on your terminal and you Control V. So I have this, and see 27 and 27, and which is the total points of A team and B team is 27 and 27. And after that, but we want the output to be should be either A or B if they are tied, and we would print T. Okay, so here it comes on if else. So first we'll say if you would say if A is greater than B, and you would say, oh, that is you can print A, right? A greater than B. You would say, I would say print capital A. So in since you print A, you have to put it inside a code, a single code, or either single code or double code as for a string. Now you would say else if A is less than B. Let's see. Print B. Otherwise, it should be just A equal to B, right? So you would say A equal to B, then you would say is T. And now let's just run it. So you got the output T, because we don't need this print A and B, so we have to get rid of them. And now you got we can run it again, like Control R, and paste my input and hit enter. You got T. Okay, and again I will try my first input. You come back, run 1, and come here, and you got the output is B, which is correct. However, it just because you only validate your sample input and output for your sample data. It doesn't really mean you have solved the whole problem. So I would say you have to go to the dmoj.ca. You click on dmoj.ca. You will have to copy all your code. Let's just copy all code and paste it here, and I click submit, and that's the result I got. Yep, it looks good, and final score is 15 out of 15. And so I think this solution should be good enough for the first question, but as we are learning Python, we want to do a little bit more here, because it might look accurate, because if you always like have the input like A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, and you don't want to just, like, for example, if I have 10 teams, you're not going to put 10 inputs here, right? So what I suggest you to do is I can use something in Python called list. A list is simple, like you just put a bracket, like a bracket. So in the bracket you can have the value like A1, like 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so instead of doing A1, A2, A3, B3, all these numbers into a separate variable, you can put all this input into a list. So how am I going to do a list? So let's just first we define a variable called list, like scores. We define a variable called scores. Okay, so in scores, so the first variable A1, 2, 3 is belong to A team, and 4, 5, 6 is belong to the bananas team. So you say, but how could I get them, like A1, the value of A1? And in order to get A1, you can just say scores 0. So in the index 0, if you point to this variable, and the same here, scores 1, scores 2. Okay, and for the B, you do scores 3, scores 4, and scores 5. Okay, because you have scores from here, right? And you probably don't need this anymore. You don't need this. So let's just run it. Run J1, and then you got B team 1, because obviously you got 4, 5, 6 here, right? You're always greater than 1, 2, 3. But you would say, hey, I want the input into the scores instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how am I going to do that? And you would have a loop. So you would say like for I in range 6. So you will say scores dot append input. So still remember the same thing, like before we got like a1 equal to int input, right? And now we just put the a1 here. We put the a1 here, right? We put the a1 inside to the append. Okay, or you can just like doing like that. You say input, right? Input like inp, like input. You go int input. So we remove this. We put the inp here. Inp. So which will be the same. And what is append mean? When we calling this function for in a list, append means you are going to put one more value here, like 9 or 10, something like that. You keep appending. And you might ask, because at the beginning it should be the empty list. You will go with this loop. What's this loop mean? So you got the range 6, which means you are going to loop 6 times, like 1 time, like the first time 1 to 6, and then you keep looping. If you are not, you have difficulty to understand the loop, I would suggest you to go through the video we had before, but it's pretty straightforward. So you can do like this. Let me show you. You pull up a command line or a terminal. So you would say like just Python. Okay. So you say, hey, I want to see the range like 2. So you have 0 and 1. Like how about range 6? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we try 1i in range 6 and see what happens. And you say print I. Okay, just print I. So you got 6 time loop. One from 0 to 5. So which is 6 time. If you compare here, you will say, hey, I loop 6 time. I will get all the result input from all my input into my program, and I save all the input into a list, and into the list variable called scores. So in scores, and I can find all the value from scores 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can just print scores, and we will give it a try. We just run J1, and the same thing. I will go here and just Control C, and you will get this. So the first output is for the scores, and I still got B team 1, and then let's try the second input. Again, I come here, run, or you can say, have the Control R, run here, and you got T and their time, so which is the same like the second output. And you should remove this because it's useless, and you should copy the whole result and Control C. You go back to the here, you click run code, and you jump to here. Okay, so you just run code, and you paste all your results here, and then I click submit, which is 15 out of 15. And that's it for today.